Hello and welcome back to Silver Serenity. If you're over 60, you know the fear of brain fog, that frustrating search for the right word, or the sudden panic when you forget why you walked into a room. These aren't just minor inconveniences, they are subtle warnings. Many of you are already taking supplements, trying puzzles, and doing everything right to protect your memory. But here's the shocking truth. The single biggest threat to your cognitive health isn't stress or a lack of exercise. It's sitting right there on your plate, delivered with your morning cup of coffee. We are talking about your breakfast. For decades, we have been told that a quick, easy breakfast is the best way to start the day. But research from top neurologists is now suggesting that many of the most common morning meals for seniors are actually doing the opposite. They are quietly accelerating the aging process inside your brain cells. Your breakfast is directly responsible for triggering a harmful hormonal cascade that leads to inflammation and poor memory function. It is an unexpected danger, and today we're exposing it all. We're going to tell you exactly which 3 foods are the worst culprits and, more importantly, what 3 neurosurgeon-approved swaps you can make to start actively supporting your memory and brain health, starting with your very next meal. Stay with us, because the truth about your cereal bowl could change the course of your next 10 years. In our last chapter, we revealed that your breakfast is the unexpected danger accelerating cognitive decline. Now, we are going to uncover the specific mechanism behind this threat, the aging hormone spike. That hormone is insulin. Every time you eat a breakfast high in refined carbohydrates or sugar, think those instant cereals, white bagels, or sugary pastries, your body floods your system with glucose. Your pancreas then releases a huge surge of insulin to process it. This isn't a one-time event. For years, you've been training your body to perform this dramatic spike every single morning. Over time, this constant insulin roller coaster can make your cells resistant to it, and that creates a cycle of persistent inflammation. Here's where the danger directly impacts your brain. High inflammation may contribute to the formation of plaques that researchers associate with memory decline. Furthermore, when your cells become insulin resistant, your brain cells literally starve because they can't effectively absorb the fuel they need. That feeling of brain fog you experience by 10 a.m., that's often your brain struggling because it's not getting stable energy. The good news is that controlling this spike is the single most powerful strategy you have for supporting your long-term memory. In the next chapter, we'll start exposing the 3 worst breakfast offenders that are guaranteeing these dangerous insulin spikes. You now understand that your morning meal can trigger dangerous insulin spikes, but you need to know why that matters specifically for Alzheimer's and related dementias. It's more direct than you think. In the scientific community, some researchers refer to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. Why? Because your brain depends on insulin not just for fuel, but for vital functions like memory consolidation and cellular maintenance. When you bombard your system with those sugary, refined breakfasts, your cells become insulin resistant. And that resistance doesn't stop at your waistline. It happens in your brain too. Your memory cells literally become starved and inflamed. Furthermore, high blood sugar and excessive insulin are thought to contribute to the accumulation of those harmful amyloid plaques, the sticky debris strongly associated with cognitive decline. This means that every choice you make at breakfast is either fueling the problem or actively supporting your brain's natural defense system. It's a battle won or lost before 9 a.m. If you've been eating these 3 common foods we're about to reveal, you are unfortunately putting your brain at a higher disadvantage. Don't worry. We're not just giving you the bad news. Next, we expose the 3 worst offenders, so you can stop the cycle of brain aging today. We've talked about the threat of insulin spikes. Now, let's talk about the source. The first brain-aging food you need to immediately remove from your pantry is highly refined, packaged breakfast cereal. Yes, the stuff you or your grandkids probably grew up on. Many of these cereals, even the ones marketed as being low-fat or heart-healthy, are simply sugar bombs disguised as breakfast. Here is why they are often worse than actual candy for your memory health. When you eat a typical chocolate bar, the fat content slightly slows down the sugar's absorption. But these refined cereals? They are almost pure carbohydrate and sugar. When they hit your system, there is zero resistance. That combination creates the fastest, highest, and most catastrophic insulin spike possible. This is the exact hormonal spike that we discussed in Chapter 2, which may accelerate the aging process of your brain cells. You're essentially putting your memory on a blood sugar roller coaster every single day. This constant spiking can lead to severe energy crashes for your neurons, resulting in that debilitating mid-morning brain fog. But the sugar is only half the problem. Next, we'll dive into how the type of carbohydrate in that bowl is silently burning out your brain cells by noon. In the last chapter, we exposed the sugar bomb lurking in your cereal bowl. Now, let us talk about the refined grain itself, because this is what guarantees your memory cells will burn out before lunchtime. When grains are highly processed to create things like white flour, white bread, and many common breakfast cereals, they are stripped of nearly all their fiber, B vitamins, and essential fats. What you're left with is a carbohydrate structure that the body digests almost instantly. Think of it like paper in a fireplace. It lights up instantly, gives a huge, intense flash of heat, and then disappears just as fast. That flash is your massive blood sugar spike, and the quick disappearance is your energy crash. Your brain, which demands a steady, constant supply of glucose, is forced to run on empty. This chronic pattern of fuel depletion may deplete essential nutrients your neurons need for repair, making them vulnerable to damage. Furthermore, these refined grains can contain compounds that contribute to systemic inflammation in your body. And as you now know, widespread inflammation is a direct enemy of healthy cognitive function. This is why you feel foggy and unfocused by noon. Your fuel source has been depleted, and your brain is essentially running on fumes. In the next chapter, we're moving away from the cereal box to expose the second food that seniors assume is healthy, but is actually a catastrophic risk to your memory, the fake health drink. If you think you're avoiding that sugar spike by skipping the cereal and opting for a refreshing glass of juice, I have some bad news. Our second brain aging offender is the bottled fruit juice, even the ones labeled 100% natural. This is one of the most insidious traps for seniors because we've been told for decades that it is healthy. But here's the brutal reality. When you process fruit into juice, you remove the most important ingredient, fiber. Fiber is the speed bump that forces your body to slowly absorb the natural sugars in the fruit. When you drink juice, you are getting the sugar, specifically a high dose of fructose, delivered straight to your system without any speed bump at all. This creates an insulin spike almost as dramatic as drinking soda. Furthermore, consuming high doses of liquid fructose puts a significant strain on your liver. That strain initiates an inflammatory response, and that systemic inflammation may contribute to the memory and cognitive issues we talked about in earlier chapters. You are essentially bypassing your body's natural protection system. If you want the benefits of the fruit, you must eat the whole fruit. Stop drinking your fruit. It's a sugar catastrophe for your brain health. Next, we'll see how this excessive fructose specifically clutters your memory center. We've established that the sugary juice you drink is a catastrophic sugar trap. But the damage from fructose, specifically, goes far beyond a simple insulin spike. Fructose is particularly destructive because of the way it interacts with proteins in your body. It has a unique ability to bind to proteins much faster than glucose in a process called glycation. This creates highly damaging compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. Think of AGEs as sticky, toxic debris. When these AGEs accumulate in your brain, they may accelerate the formation of those toxic protein deposits, the clutter, that clog the spaces between your memory cells. This is like trying to send a vital email, but the internet connection is constantly jammed with junk mail. The result? Slower thinking, difficulty recalling names, and that overall frustrating feeling of mental clutter. This constant bombardment of high fructose, low fiber liquid from those health drinks actively sabotages your brain's natural ability to clear out waste. This is why cutting out the juice is a non-negotiable step in your strategy to support the brain's function. Now, it is time to move on to our third offender, a completely different type of food that is hiding its own brain-aging secret. We've exposed two of the most dangerous sugar traps hiding in your kitchen. Now, let's talk about our third brain-aging offender, and this one isn't about sugar. It's about fat. Specifically, the highly refined, super-processed vegetable and seed oils hidden in many of your quick breakfast foods. Things like frozen waffles, pancakes, supermarket muffins, and even non-dairy creamers. These cheap industrial oils, such as soybean, corn, and certain types of canola oil, are packed with something called omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. While omega-6 fats are essential, the American diet is currently saturated with them, creating a massive imbalance with the beneficial omega-3 fats. This is a critical problem for your memory. These oils are chemically unstable, and when consumed in excess, they may initiate a firestorm of chronic, systemic inflammation throughout your body. Think of these processed fats as fuel for the inflammation we discussed earlier. Your brain health depends on having a balanced, stable environment. When you consistently feed it cheap, highly processed oils, you are creating the perfect conditions for neuronal stress and damage. Many seniors unknowingly consume these inflammatory oils every single morning, setting their brain up for failure. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into this imbalance and why the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is a hidden metric that determines your risk. In the previous chapter, we exposed the processed oils hidden in your favorite breakfast pastries and items. The real tragedy here isn't just that these fats are unhealthy, it's that they create a catastrophic imbalance of essential fatty acids in your body. We need omega-6 fats, but in the correct ratio with omega-3 fats. Historically, our diet provided a ratio closer to 1:1. Today, thanks to the widespread use of cheap industrial seed oils in processed foods, the average Western diet is closer to 20:1. This massive imbalance is the omega-6 disaster, and it is profoundly damaging to your cognitive health. Omega-6s are the precursors to chemicals that promote inflammation, while omega-3s are the precursors to chemicals that calm inflammation. When you have 20 times more of the on button for inflammation than the off button, you create a chronic state of low-grade inflammation that directly targets your brain's most vital areas. This constant internal inflammation contributes to the neuronal stress and cellular damage that may accelerate memory decline. Your brain cannot function optimally in this inflamed state. Understanding this ratio is the final piece of the bad news. Now that we've identified the 3 biggest morning offenders, it's time to transition to the solutions, the practical, immediate swaps that will help you control these hormones and actively support your brain health. We've spent enough time discussing what not to eat. Now, let's pivot to the actionable, memory-supporting swaps that can change your mornings and safeguard your brain. Our first and most vital swap moves you away from those processed carbs and straight toward high-quality protein. The superstar here is the humble egg. This isn't just about feeling full. This is your strategic defense against the insulin spike. Unlike carbohydrates, protein does not create a dramatic flood of glucose, meaning it keeps your aging hormone stable and supports a consistent energy supply to your neurons. Think of it as a low, slow burn, exactly what your brain needs. Beyond hormone stabilization, eggs are one of nature's best sources of choline. Choline is a powerhouse nutrient that is absolutely vital for the production of acetylcholine, which is the primary neurotransmitter involved in memory and learning. For many seniors, simply switching that bowl of sugar bomb cereal for 2 to 3 whole eggs is the single most effective way to start actively supporting cognitive function. This strategy is backed by leading neurological experts for a reason: stable fuel and targeted nutrients. But protein alone isn't enough. Next, we'll reveal the essential anti-inflammatory fat you should pair with your protein for maximum brain protection. If you took our advice in the last chapter and swapped your sugary cereal for eggs, you're already halfway to winning the morning. But now we need to address the second component of the typical bad breakfast, the refined starch, often in the form of toast, a bagel, or an English muffin. That refined carbohydrate will sabotage your memory gains. The golden rule of brain fuel is simple: protein plus healthy fat. Your second vital swap is replacing that starchy toast with neuro-nourishing fats, such as avocado, a handful of walnuts or almonds, or a drizzle of high-quality extra virgin olive oil. Here is why this swap is non-negotiable for memory support. Healthy fats, particularly monounsaturated fats, create virtually zero insulin response. They stabilize your blood sugar for hours, ensuring your brain gets a long, steady burn of energy, preventing the crash we talked about earlier. Beyond stability, these fats are packed with powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. They actively work to calm the systemic inflammation that was fueled by those cheap processed omega-6 oils we exposed in Chapter 8. By combining the steady protein of eggs with the zero-spike, anti-inflammatory power of healthy fats, you are essentially providing your memory cells with the ideal, sustained energy and protection needed to thrive. But what if you absolutely need some kind of carbohydrate? That brings us to our final strategic swap. We understand that completely eliminating carbohydrates can be a challenge, and for some, an unsatisfying way to start the day. If you absolutely feel the need for carbohydrates at breakfast, you must implement our final strategic swap. Move from refined carbs to smart carbs. The difference between a brain-aging carb and a brain-supporting carb is one simple component: fiber. Fiber acts as a physical shield in your digestive tract. It drastically slows down the conversion of carbohydrates into glucose, ensuring that sugar trickles into your bloodstream instead of flooding it. This slow release is the perfect strategy to keep that aging hormone, insulin, stable all morning long. To successfully make this swap, here are 4 smart carbs you can incorporate. First, berries, especially blueberries, which are packed with memory-supporting antioxidants. Second, a small portion of steel-cut or rolled oats, not instant oats, because their structure forces a slower release. Third, a modest serving of chia or flax seeds, which are powerhouse sources of fiber you can add to almost anything. And finally, believe it or not, a small amount of pre-cooked sweet potato. By choosing these fiber-dense options, you gain the energy you want without the catastrophic hormonal spike that damages your memory cells. You are effectively fueling your neurons while actively supporting your long-term cognitive health. Now that you know the 3 dangerous foods and the 3 strategic swaps, let's give you a quick tool to evaluate any food in your kitchen. You now have the full playbook. You know the 3 dangerous foods and the 3 strategic swaps. But how do you know if the meal you just ate is actually working to support your memory? We've created a simple, powerful, at-home test you can perform immediately without any expensive equipment. The key metric is the 90-minute energy crash. Here is the rule. If you feel tired, irritable, foggy, or hungry 90 to 120 minutes after you finish eating your breakfast, your meal has failed the test. That crash is direct evidence that your breakfast created a severe insulin spike, followed by a rapid, dangerous blood sugar plummet. This is the exact hormonal event that may accelerate brain aging and starve your neurons of stable fuel. A brain-supporting breakfast, one rich in protein and healthy fat, like the swaps we recommended, should keep you feeling satiated, energized, and mentally clear for a minimum of 3 to 4 hours. If you fail this simple at-home test, it means you need to immediately increase the high-quality protein and healthy fat components of your meal and drastically reduce the refined carbohydrates. Use this test as your personal neuromonitor. Now, let ES expand our strategy beyond the plate and look at 3 powerful morning habits that further help stabilize those brain-aging hormones. We have established the dietary strategy for stabilizing your brain-aging hormones. Now, let S talk about a non-food ritual that you can implement in literally 3 minutes to physically support your memory. Your brain doesn't just need good fuel, it needs constant, robust blood flow. This morning ritual is designed to immediately increase your cerebral blood flow, CBF, ensuring your memory center gets a rush of oxygen and nutrients the moment you wake up. The ritual is simple: 3 minutes of vigorous, low-impact movement and deep breathing. This could be fast marching in place, climbing a set of stairs, or performing large arm circles while taking slow, diaphragmatic breaths. Why is this so vital? Research has consistently shown that increasing blood flow helps counteract the detrimental effects of inflammation and nutrient starvation. More blood flow means more fuel delivery to those tired neurons and faster waste removal of those toxic proteins we discussed earlier. It's a simple, zero-cost, low-impact strategy that actively supports your brain's structural health. Don't skip this step. Pairing this ritual with a proper protein and fat breakfast is the 1-2 punch your memory needs to thrive. Next, we re-tackling the confusing world of supplements and revealing the single most overhyped one that may be draining your wallet without helping your memory. When you decide to prioritize your brain health, the supplement aisle can feel overwhelming. Manufacturers are constantly pushing expensive memory boosters that promise incredible results. But here is the warning from top geriatric experts. The single most overhyped supplement category is often those fancy herbal or proprietary blends that lack robust, peer-reviewed data. For many seniors, these costly pills are simply an expensive distraction from the real problem. Don't waste your money on unproven memory cocktails. Instead, your strategy should focus on correcting common deficiencies that are scientifically proven to compromise cognitive function. The two supplements that are absolutely crucial for many seniors are specific B vitamins, especially B12, and vitamin D. B12 is vital for nerve health and the formation of red blood cells, and a deficiency often mimics the symptoms of dementia. Similarly, low vitamin D levels are consistently linked in studies to poorer cognitive outcomes. Before you buy another expensive brain blend, talk to your physician about testing your B12 and vitamin D levels. Correcting a deficiency with these simple, proven vitamins is a far more powerful and reliable strategy for supporting your memory than taking a dozen unproven pills. It's about correcting the foundational issues, not chasing quick fixes. Next, let us talk about a nightly strategy that costs nothing and is perhaps the most powerful memory technique available: the power of sleep. We've covered fueling your brain and supplementing its needs. Now, let's talk about the single most powerful, zero-cost strategy for clearing the toxic clutter that contributes to memory decline: sleep. Think of deep sleep as your brain's nightly maintenance crew. It's when your glymphatic system, the brain's waste disposal system, becomes hyperactive. This system is critical for sweeping away cellular debris and those troublesome waste proteins that researchers associate with memory issues. But there's a secret to optimizing this cleanup cycle, and it has to do with your sleep position. Early research suggests that sleeping on your side may be the most efficient posture for waste removal. Scientists hypothesize that the side position may optimize the flow of cerebrospinal fluid, potentially making it easier for the brain to flush out those accumulated toxic proteins while you rest. This isn't just about getting 8 hours. It is about making sure those hours are spent in a position that actively supports your brain's natural cleaning process. If you're currently a back or stomach sleeper, consider training yourself to transition to the side position. Pairing this nightly strategy with a low-sugar dinner is a potent strategy for supporting cognitive longevity. Next, let us look at a social habit that may be as dangerous to your brain as poor diet. We've spent time focusing on what you put into your body. Now, let's talk about a silent threat to your memory that comes from your environment: loneliness. This may sound dramatic, but many studies suggest that chronic social isolation is as dangerous to your cognitive health as consuming too much processed sugar. Here is the mechanism. Loneliness creates a persistent state of chronic stress. Your brain interprets this isolation as a survival threat, flooding your system with destructive stress hormones like cortisol. Sustained high cortisol levels are known to be particularly damaging to the hippocampus, the brain's primary memory center. Essentially, loneliness directly accelerates neuronal aging. Conversely, regular social engagement, using complex language, navigating conversations, expressing empathy, and planning activities, forces your brain to use its most sophisticated circuits. This cognitive exercise helps build resilience against decline. If you're over 60, making a dedicated effort to connect with someone every single day, whether in person or virtually, is a vital component of your memory protection strategy. Don't let your social health fall victim to isolation. It is a powerful way to actively support the longevity of your mind. You now have the full picture: the foods to avoid, the supplements to take, and the lifestyle hacks to implement. It's time to put it all together into one simple checklist. You have now mastered the secrets to stabilizing those brain-aging hormones and protecting your memory. It's time to stop feeling overwhelmed and start acting decisively. Here is your ultimate brain protection checklist, a daily strategy distilled from the advice of top neuro experts, designed for everyone over 60. First, master your breakfast. You must replace those dangerous refined carbs and sugars with a meal based on high-quality protein and healthy fats. Think eggs and avocado, not cereal and toast. Second, adopt the 3-minute flow. Implement our simple 3-minute vigorous morning movement ritual to guarantee robust blood flow to your memory centers. Third, sleep on your side. Optimize your glymphatic system's nightly cleanup cycle by prioritizing the side sleeping position. Fourth, correct deficiencies. Consult your doctor and prioritize simple supplements like B12 and vitamin D, rather than wasting money on expensive, unproven memory blends. Fifth, connect daily. Fight the damaging stress hormones of isolation by ensuring you have meaningful social engagement every day. This checklist is your blueprint. Every day you follow it is a day you are actively supporting your brain's resilience against decline. This is your foundation for a vibrant, clear-minded future. But if you choose to ignore these 5 non-negotiables, there are severe consequences you need to be aware of. We've given you the knowledge and the checklist. Now you have a choice. If you choose to ignore the warnings about those 3 dangerous breakfast foods and the highly processed oils, you need to understand the price of inaction. This isn't just about feeling tired. Immediately, by mid-morning, you will continue to experience that severe brain fog, the energy crash, and the irritability. This isn't a coincidence. It is the direct physical consequence of that catastrophic insulin spike and subsequent blood sugar crash. You are putting your brain through a minor trauma every single day. Long-term, continuing this pattern of dietary assault ensures that your body remains in a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. This persistent inflammation accelerates the aging process and contributes to the neuronal damage that may put your brain at a serious disadvantage against memory decline later in life. You are actively feeding the structural problems, the insulin resistance, and the toxic buildup that we've spent this entire video discussing. Choosing to keep eating those foods is choosing to ignore your brain's call for help. The great news is that you don't have to live this way. You have the power to stop the damage and start supporting your memory, simply by changing what you put on your plate first thing in the morning. Your path to cognitive clarity starts now. You've made it this far because you're serious about protecting your memory and securing a vibrant future. You understand the danger, and now you hold the solution. It's time to stop thinking and start doing. We challenge you to commit to the 7-day swap challenge. For just 1 week, eliminate those 3 dangerous breakfast foods, the sugary cereals, the bottled juices, and the processed pancake fats, and commit to the protein and healthy fat morning strategy. Why 7 days? Because the body's response to blood sugar stabilization is immediate. Within just 1 week, you should begin to notice significant and noticeable improvements. Less mid-morning brain fog, more stable energy, and a greater feeling of focus and mental clarity. This is your brain telling you the strategy is working. The future of your memory is not determined by genetics alone. It is determined by your daily decisions. Don't put off this vital change until tomorrow. Start with your breakfast immediately. Make the commitment to prioritize your brain health, implement the checklist, and take control of your cognitive destiny. If this information gave you the clarity you needed, be sure to share this knowledge and let us know in the comments below which swap you are starting with today. Your new brain health journey begins now.